Okay, so this is an activity all about equivalent fractions. Fractions, always a tricky topic to cover, so make it as practical as you possibly can. That's my advice, and games thrown in, obviously. So equivalent fractions are fractions that look different but are the same amount, basically. So the same size, but they look different in the way that you write them down. That's all it means. Equivalent means equal to, really. So what I've done is I've got paper plates. If you don't have paper plates, you could just draw around a circle onto paper. But I've made, and I'm sorry this is back to front, but I've just labelled on each plate. So this is one, so one whole. I've got halves, so two halves there. I've got quarters, and I've got eighths. So just cutting them out, and I've just coloured them. I've used our little Brian paint sticks to colour them in, just so that they look a little bit different. Easier to do. So you could start off just by getting children to lay out their paper plates on top of the whole, just to practice and get a feel for it. So two halves, whoops, there we go. So two halves make a whole, then lay your quarters on. 4 quarters make a whole. These are all equivalent fractions. We need 4 quarters to make a whole, and then lay your eighths on as well. Obviously that will go round. So you could just get them just playing around with the fractions, just to start understanding the size of them, get to talk about it. Eighths are smaller than quarters, quarters are smaller than halves, all those sorts of things, having something visual and they can see it. Okay. Then, once you're ready and confident with that, this is where the game comes in. Now, you can do this for any fractions. I've just chosen halves, quarters and eighths, because they're quite nice ones to start with, but you could do any fractions you like, really. Then, on pieces of paper, I've just written down loads of fractions. So, 3/8, 4/8, 4 quarters, 2 quarters, a quarter, a half, loads of different ones. You can either put these in a bag or just lay them face down on your table or floor, wherever you're playing. I keep forgetting to do this. You can actually see through these bits of paper, so it's worth using coloured paper for it, or covering them over somehow, or fold them up. Okay, and this is the game. Again, you could play on your own, or you could play as a pair or a group, whatever you wanted to do. But you always have your one whole board to start off with, and your other fractions. You pick a fraction. So I picked a half to start off with, and you can write it down if you want to, or not. It's up to you. It doesn't matter really. So find one half. You can do whichever one, and lay it on top of your whole. Or you don't even have to put it on there really. You could just have a half. It's entirely up to you how you want to do it. Just find it sits a bit easier on there. And then the game is to find as many equivalent fractions as possible to a half. So what other fractions are the same size as it, but a different looking fraction. And you get a point awarded for each fraction, equivalent fraction that you find. So we can put these on here and see, can visually see them. 2 quarters is the same as a half. So I can write down 2 quarters because it's covered up the same amount. That's what's quite good about the colours, because then you can see it. You can leave that on there and then go, okay, I'll try my eighths. 1, 2, 3, 4. They cover up the same area, so they're the same size, but there's 4 eighths. So 4 eighths. So in that round, I've found 1, 2 equivalent fractions. Therefore, I've scored 2 points for that round. And then I'd fold my piece of paper up, or just lay it back down, mix them all up again, start again. I've added some nasty ones in there, especially if you're playing competitively. I've added in things like 3/8. So obviously you'd start off again with your whole, lay your 3/8 down to there, and then they'll notice when they start laying things like a quarter down, a quarter doesn't cover it all up, a half covers it up too much, and I've only got eighths. So that one's a bit of a nasty one, because if you get the 3/8 card, it means that you score no points, because at the moment you haven't got any equivalent fractions to 3/8. So that's where it starts getting a bit competitive as well. So definitely make sure you can't see the fractions through there. Otherwise I expect there'll be a little bit of selective picking going on. Okay, hope that makes sense. Just thought it's easier than in a video with fractions and with this game, rather than trying to write it all down. So there you go, really quick and easy again. And if you haven't got paper plates, just cut round a circle on paper. And like I say, you can do it with lots of different fractions, 6, 12ths, whatever you want to do. Just something nice and visual to get them looking and seeing and playing about with fractions. A bit easier if you can see it rather than trying to visualise it. So there we go. Have fun.